a few months back, my wife and I decided we were finally going to leave New York. That things were getting so crazy here, it's time to go. We got rid of one tyrant governor, and he was replaced by a legit psychopath. So it's time to go. We're gonna put the house up for sale in like a couple days, and then we were gonna document the whole thing, because I know a lot of people are thinking like this right now. A lot of people just want to get away from high population areas. I've talked to so many people who are like, oh, maybe I'll try homesteading. So we were gonna document the whole thing. My first video was going to be me putting for sale sign up on the front of my house and then taking everybody through the journey. We were looking for something within like 2 hours commuting distance from my job, and we wanted something between like 5 and 10 acres. We wanted to not have our neighbor right on top of us. We wanted to have our own property. Then my job told me I have to face the mandate. I work for a small company, and I did not think I was going to have to face this thing. There's like 70 guys there, and it's owned by family. I know my boss would never do this to me intentionally, but we fall under federal contractor status because we are subcontractors for a utility company. So I wound up putting together an exemption letter. My priest helped me with it. I have a really good priest. He helped me put it together. He even signed it and asked for whoever's this is going to grant it to me. But right now I'm in limbo and waiting to see what happens. But I had to really think about what I will do if I get denied the exemption. First, what is this mandate? Is there something really wrong with doing this? And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about this thing. What I know is, in my heart, it feels like a system of compliance they're trying to enact. And it has nothing to do with the current situation at all. So, what am I going to do if I'm denied? I know a lot of people that filed for an exemption, and then when they were denied, they wound up caving in. I mean, we saw this with firefighters, we saw this with police. They all said they were going to stand their ground, and then in the end they caved in. The nurses, same thing. Everybody caves in. I can't do that. I had a conversation with my son a while back about having conviction and having a line that you draw that you'll never cross. And I was talking to him about virtue and chastity specifically. Like, I know we're in a time where all your friends are going to be doing things, but you have to draw a line in your heart, and you have to say, this is a line I will not cross, and you never, ever cross and violate your conscience and cross your convictions. This is that scenario for me. I drew a line. I went along with masks. I went along with all their nonsense things, but this was a line I drew. So I have to really accept that this is a time where we might be called to be witnesses and martyrs, white martyrdom. I love my job. I've been there for 21 years. I make a lot of money for a guy that didn't go to college. But the whole thing is that I keep hearing in my head certain scripture verses. Romans 8:16. It is that very Spirit bearing witness with our spirit that we are the children of God, and if children, then heirs, heirs of God, and joint heirs with Christ, provided we suffer. If we suffer with him, we may also be glorified with him. If I'm not willing to give up my job and lose some money, what are the chances I'll ever be able to endure a more serious issue? Martyrdom, something like that. I keep hearing like, oh, God will provide, but God does not say he'll provide a ranch in the suburbs with 2 cars and a boat. So But I don't know. He'll provide a roof over my head. I have family around me. If I lose everything, if I lose my house, the problem comes in when we're asking our family to pick up that cross for us because they don't quite understand why you drew this line. It's a tough one, but I don't know. I feel like I'm in a Thomas More moment where it's like you just have to stand by what you know in your heart is wrong. Another weird thing is that we're submitting these exemptions based on the idea of abortion and that they were made using fetal cell lines, and that there is truth to that, but that's not the whole thing for me. I think this might be, and I don't know, I'm just some high school dropout, so I don't know, but it seems like a precursor or a type of the mark of the beast, and I'm a little nervous about it. We know also it causes all, both small and great, both rich and poor, both free and slave, to be marked on the right hand or the forehead so that no one can buy or sell who doesn't have the mark. So, no, I don't think this is the mark of the beast, but I think it's something that's going to lead up to it. I think that there's a system being put in place right now that once they start getting everyone to comply, those who don't won't be able to participate in the system that they're setting up. The other day, I accidentally stumbled upon a Father Wolf homily on Sensus Fidelium. It was called Prepare for Persecution Lest You Become an Apostate. So in January 250 AD, which this mandate goes into effect in January 250 AD, the Roman Emperor issued an edict that every man, woman, and child was to offer sacrifice to the pagan gods or die. Persecution was so intense that the Holy See remained vacant for over a year. The basic idea was that paganism was to be restored and Catholicism was to disappear. Each suspect whose allegiance was doubtful was to appear before a local commission and offer sacrifice to the pagan idols, deny his faith, and join in a pagan banquet with food and wine offered to those idols. Certificates were then issued as proof that the accused had proven himself to be a good pagan. Not a single town or village escaped the trial. For those who refused the sacrifice, the penalty was death. But the emperor's intention wasn't really to kill the Christians. It was their conversion to paganism. The number of apostates was immense. When the edict arrived, all were truly struck with fear. In their fear, many of the more eminent persons came forward immediately. Others who were in public service were drawn in by their official duties, while others were urged on by those around them. They were jeered at by the multitudes that stood around, as it was plain to everyone that these people were cowards. They were afraid to either die or to offer the sacrifice. But others ran eagerly to the altars, declaring boldly that they had never been Christians. Some who fled were captured, kept in prison for a few days before they too denied the faith. Others endured great tortures before finally giving in. But the firm, being strengthened from the Lord, appropriate to the strong faith they possessed, became admirable witnesses to his kingdom. We're being called to be those witnesses right now. If you refuse to violate your conscience, you won't get your certificate. You won't be able to buy or sell, and you won't be considered a good citizen. These are times where the wheat is being separated from the chaff. What are you willing to give up? This is not an easy question. What are you really willing to give up? I'd rather be homeless than have my son think I'm a fraud. I'd rather be on the streets than have him think everything his father said was just words. This is a big deal to me. This is, I don't see any way around this. So, I'm still going to put my house on the market. I'm still going to look for a new home to buy. We have some equity in this house. Hopefully everything stays, and hopefully I keep my job. But if I don't, I'm just depending on God that he will help me find another source of income where I don't have to violate my conscience, because I'm not giving in. And I think everybody needs to draw a line on this. what I get the idea that you're put in a position where your family doesn't get it, where you know your role is to provide for your family, and that ability is being taken from you. But our kids are watching right now, and there's going to be a time where this stuff gets way worse. We've watched things amp up over the past year and a half to a degree I never imagined possible. So, I don't know where we go from here. I don't know what my new career will be if I get denied the exemption. I have no idea about any of this. All I know is I'm not getting this shot. And I think everybody needs to draw that line. So, we'll see where this goes.